Nothing in this world works the way you think it does. Nothing. There's a far higher, bigger picture going on the earth for at least 7,000 years of human history that we modern day people really just don't relate to. All we know is what we live with today. The hidden history of the world we live in. For 3,200 years, Rome has dominated Europe. And for 3,200 years, Europe has dominated the world. Therefore, there is the old saying that all roads lead to Rome. Just keep in mind that what you are seeing happening on the earth today, with all the economic problems, etc., all has a pedigree and all has a background which you need to understand. Our commercial systems, our educational systems, are all based on ancient concepts and belief systems. Knowledge is power. And this is why so many people in America especially feel powerless, because they have no knowledge. Profound things have been said in the Bible. For instance, it is written in the Old Testament that my people are dying from a lack of knowledge. And that's certainly true. Today people are dying, they're wasting their lives away because they're ignorant, ill-informed, and unread as to how the world works. And there's another scripture that I think is extremely important that says, where there is no vision, the people perish. Simply meaning that as long as civilization does not understand where we have come from, where we are now, and where is the whole human race going in the future. If you don't have that kind of spiritual vision, then we're going to perish. Educate yourself about how the world really works. Banks do not loan money. There's a law in America that says no bank can loan money, period. That's the law. Now, how many people go to get a loan from a bank know that the law in America says no banks can loan money? How many people know that? The way it works is very simple. Suppose you're buying a $30,000 car, $50,000 car. That car, first of all, has to be appraised by a state-approved appraiser. So you have a government appraiser appraise the car for its value. And let's say it's $50,000. Therefore, the paperwork, which represents that $50,000 car, is referred to in commerce and business as commercial paper. And that piece of paper represents $50,000 in business. So what happens is, if you decide you want to buy the car, the dealership sends the paper to the bank. So now the bank has a $50,000 worth of commercial paper. What the bank does is they open up a bank account in your name without you knowing it. All banks do this. They open up a bank account in your name. They sign your name on the bank account, because you can't open a bank account without a signature. So they sign your name on a bank account and open up a bank account for you. But you don't know that. Then they take the $50,000 in commercial paper, which represents $50,000, and they put it into your account. So now you have a bank account in their bank with $50,000 in it. And then they take that bank account and they write a check on that for you. So the first check, for the first $50,000, they write for you, and they sign it for you and give it to you so you can give it to the dealer. So you think the bank has loaned you $50,000. No. The bank merely gave you credit on the commercial paper which they are holding. They are confirming that they have the $50,000 in the bank with the paper. They're holding the pink slip. Therefore, they will give you a credit of $50,000 based on your commercial paper. So they didn't give you anything. You gave them $50,000 on commercial paper. They just gave you a credit, and so that's the way it works. There is no money changing hands. Now let me give you another example that's even easier to understand. Suppose you were a painting contractor, and I hire you to paint my office, and you tell me it's going to cost $100 to paint my office. Well, the way it works in business, in commercial business, is that I agree to your bill of $100. So when you're through with the job, you come to me and you give me a bill, and the bill is for $100. I reach in my wallet and I pull out a $100 bill. and I give it to you. Now you have been paid because I gave you a $100 bill. No, I didn't pay you anything. I paid you nothing. You gave me a bill for $100. I reach in my wallet, I give you a bill for $100. It's called a $100 bill. So now you owe me $100. It's a bill. Look on the $100 bill, and at the top it says a Federal Reserve note. It's a bank note, meaning you now owe me $100. It's a bank note. And so if you had given me a bill for $20, I give you a $20 bill. So all we're doing is just exchanging bills. That's why banks are called banks of exchange. So we're just exchanging paper. Nobody has bought anything. And because of that, the law basically says in America, you cannot pay a bill. So understand, when you say that you've got a bill that you have to pay, you cannot pay a bill in America. That's the law. But you can discharge a debt. That's different. Discharging a debt is different from paying a bill. Since you didn't pay for anything, since you're using the Federal Reserve note and you're buying something, you did not pay. You didn't pay the bill. So therefore, whatever it is you're buying, you don't own. You don't own anything. It was just a bill of exchange. They give you something worth $100 bill, and I gave them a bill for $100. So the bottom line on the way commerce works is that nobody pays anyone, period. Therefore, in point of fact, by law, no one owns anything. Also is why you have to have insurance and a seat belt. It's because you do not own your body. The government owns your body, in point of fact. And so your body is a security on the New York Stock Exchange, and the corporation that owns you, and you are owned. There are laws that expressly say that you are owned. You just don't know it. And so that's why you have to have a license, you have to have insurance. You can't get married without a license, because everything in our life is a business. The word license simply means a permit to do something, which without that permit is unlawful. Therefore, is totally unlawful for you to in any way, shape, or form have any relationship with a male or female intimately without a license. So that's why you have to have a license to get married. Why? It's because you are considered by law a maritime admiralty product. It's a very big story. Why do you have a bank? Why do we do any banking? Banks are found on both sides of a river. They're called river banks. What does a river bank do? It directs the flow of the currency, because your money is called currency, because it's an inflow of a current, and it's called liquid asset. And when you can't pay for something, then you're underwater. It's an extraordinary story, as I said, about the deception that goes on throughout the world about the real world and how it actually works. I have always wanted to just quietly do the best I can to cause young people to read, study, educate themselves, intellectually and spiritually enlighten themselves, because this is very important in this time of these times in which we're living. For young people to understand the word grounding. You need to be grounded. You're a biological battery, and you need to be grounded. And we know scientifically that when you take your shoes off and walk in the grass or walk on the beach, you are grounding yourself, because your body is a biological, electrical battery of sorts. And so you're grounding yourself with your Creator, with your earth, with the earth that you came from. And so the best way to ground yourself is to also spiritually and intellectually begin to educate yourself. Begin to read and study. This is very serious. You need to wake up.